Today, my guest is Musavat Party head Gambar. Today, we'll discuss the situation of the 2 April protests held by public chamber. How do you assess the situation? I suppose that 2 April rally proved that there is a need for substantial democratic changes in Azerbaijan. It proved that they are not only necessary but actually inevitable. By their active participation and active support to the peaceful protesters, the people demonstrated their position, their will. Everyone should learn from it. Both the international community and the authorities must appropriately evaluate the importance of the 2 April protests. How do you assess the reaction of the authorities? Protesters have been arrested. 4 of them are facing criminal charges. 2 of them are your close associates. All of the arrested are my associates, in fact. We must appropriately evaluate their safeness as well. It's clearly seen that the ruling regime is in confusion. The authorities know that the people are disappointed. They know that if the freedom of assembly is ensured, 10,000s, 100,000s of protesters will attend these protests. Therefore, they want to prevent it with the use of force. They want to restore a fair atmosphere, which is disappearing in the society, which is fading out. But these attempts are in vain. The developments in the world show that the violence against the peaceful protesters cannot stop the developments. On the contrary, it accelerates and radicalizes the process. Therefore, the authorities should put an end to these vain measures and set the arrested protesters free, and also take measures to holding reforms. The government officials voiced grave accusations against the public chamber leaders, saying that any dialogue with them is impossible and as if they have been shadowed in the history. What can you say about it? Is a dialogue possible with the government? Earlier, they were saying that there is no opposition at all, but now they have kicked off mass attacks on the opposition. It's clear that they themselves don't even believe in the lies, slanders they put forward against the opposition leaders. It's clear that it cannot echo in the society. On the contrary, it will increase the disappointment with the ruling regime. The public chamber has discussed the outcomes of the rally. What decision did it make? And you have also adopted a statement. The Public Chamber Coordination Council had 2 days of comprehensive discussions. Today we held a press conference and expressed our position. We reached a conclusion that the process is expanding. On March 11, the youth activists held a protest rally. It was the first action of 2011 and this phase. The next day, on March 12, Musavat Party held a protest rally, and both actions were supported by public chamber and deemed successful. Finally, on 2 April, public chamber held a joint rally, which we all were wishing for. Each rally was stronger than the preceding one. We suppose that 2 April rally was the biggest one in recent years. We suppose that it reached its goal. It proved that the people don't want to live in this way. They want changes and are ready to struggle for the changes. So, it increased the self-confidence of the people. It also increased the public chamber's role as center for people's struggle. And I am sure that this process will continue positively, and the government's efforts are in vain and they will achieve nothing. Did the public chamber announce the next rally? We are planning to hold next rally on April 16. The Coordination Council has adopted a relevant decision. Besides, the public chamber will hold an extraordinary session on April 9, where it will discuss the current situation and our further steps. Today, Karabakh Political Coalition also stated that they support public chamber. Could they join this popular movement, the public chamber as well? We appreciate the position of those who support public chamber. Besides, you know that there are some criteria for formation of public chamber. All the political forces, citizens meeting those criteria, can join public chamber. The public chamber has been expanding since the very day of its formation, and no boundaries are seen for this expansion. There is a great respect, care, and interest for public chamber. What measures should the government take to prevent such a disappointment in the society, formation of revolutionary atmosphere? We had earlier spoke about it as well. It's a fair question. We stated that the authorities should hold substantial democratic reforms if they don't want to face a revolution. We spoke how they can do it. I reiterated this in today's press conference. The government should immediately release all arrested protesters as well as political prisoners and prisoners of conscience. Then the government should ensure freedom of assembly of citizens, allow them to hold rallies. The government should dismiss the parliament and hold new democratic and fair elections. These measures would change the atmosphere in the society and create belief, create trust for peaceful, substantial democratic changes. What can you say about the next phase of struggle? Because there is such a practice in Azerbaijan. Something happens, then numerous people are arrested. Then the public attention is focused on release of prisoners, and it seems as if priorities disappear. How will you build struggle strategy furthermore? We are planning to continue our mass actions. We created a right defense committee. It will deal with the protection of the rights of our arrested associates. Besides, we'll make appeals to law enforcement agencies regarding the illegal measures taken by the authorities before, during, and after the rally, and will demand punishment for those who took these measures. So the public chamber will defend the rights of its members and as a whole, the rights of all citizens involved in this process. In recent days, Presidential Administration Socio-Political Department head Ali Hassanov said that the opposition earlier wanted to imitate the Kyrgyzs, Ukrainians, or Georgians, and now the Arabs. Still they can achieve nothing, they say. What can you say about it? The authorities themselves wanted to imitate Nigeria or Arabian countries, wanted to form a dynasty rule here. They wanted to create such a model like in Arabian countries, as if they are secular and can get along with the world well. There is a weak or no democratic oppositions at all here. But it was in vain. We as usual acted as Azerbaijani citizens, Azerbaijani political forces. Azerbaijan nation has created models in its history that the whole world can benefit from. We are now continuing this process. It would be better if the authorities consider what we said and make relevant decisions. It would serve Azerbaijan's interest as well as the regime's interest, because peaceful development of events would serve the interests of Azerbaijani people. Have you received any proposal from government for dialogue? Or if you had any, is it possible to have a dialogue with them? We have not received such a dialogue proposal. The powers involved in public chamber have always stated that they are ready for dialogue. What were your proposals for dialogue? You say that, for example, you require new parliamentary elections, anti-corruption fight, dismissal of government, and so on. What is the essence of your proposals? We require substantial democratic changes, substantial reforms. We demand expansion of boundaries of freedoms. The authorities should seriously think over it. And your proposals regarding the amendments to Constitution. This is one of the key priorities of the public chamber. We are planning to prepare a draft constitution bill. The discussions are going on in this regard. It's planned to expand the powers of the parliament in new constitution. The idea is completely or gradually transition to parliamentary republic from presidential republic. How do you foresee the end of the struggle? It is very clear, and experts suggest that the army, the police, the security forces have been politicized, as in Libya and Iran. What is your capacity in this framework? Our capacity is the people's power. The people are already rising. The people are demonstrating that they are ready for struggle. The no-authoritarian regime succeeded in preserving power under such conditions. Azerbaijani authorities should learn from it and allow development of processes in peaceful conditions and in frame of the constitution. In any case, the people wishing change will achieve it. No one can prevent it. International experts suggest that the first revolution in post-Soviet countries after Arabian countries will happen in Azerbaijan. What do you think about it? Is it possible in reality? I think there's a need for great changes in post-Soviet countries as a whole. Russia itself is on the eve of substantial changes. There's a need for changes in Belarus, Armenia, and Central Asia countries as well. But there are concrete reasons why Azerbaijan's name is next to the Arabian countries. One is that Azerbaijan is a country of oil and gas, like Arabian countries. There is authoritarian regime as well, and there is also a dynasty rule, as in Arabian countries. How do you assess the position of international community with regard to the protests? What kind of a support do you need as of now? Generally, the developments in Azerbaijan is on the focus of attention. The 11 March, 12 March, and 2 April protests were covered comprehensively in the international media. Reuters, Bloomberg, Associated Press covered the developments. Several international organizations commented on the protests. I am sure that the international community, free world, will clearly state whom they support. But naturally, there is such a question in the society that how long the world community will tolerate the authoritarian regimes. Therefore, the international community, free world, should provide a clear response to this question. Society is whispering about the pressures on oppositional leaders, particularly on you and on your son. Your son is in the army. It is claimed that the authorities have found you saying that if you don't withdraw, your son will be sent to the front line where danger is awaiting him. How real is it? I don't want to comment on it. Every soldier in Azerbaijani army is serving in a military unit in the framework of the decisions of the Ministry of Defense. It is at Ministry of Defense disposal. Besides, the supreme head commander of the army and the Ministry of Defense are responsible for every soldier in the army. You don't want to comment on it anymore? I think there is no need for comment. Thank you for the interview. Today my guest was Gambar, Musavat party leader.